welcome back to the new and experienced investor podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Alex Barnett.
And my name is Joe Holmes. Oh, you want to keep going?
Okay.
My name's Joe Holmes, and I've been a broker, a realtor, a mentor, and everything else for the last over 40 years.
I love it. We have our first guest here today. This is pretty exciting.
I'm excited. She's
a
a little nervous, but I'm excited.
Yeah, she gets nervous. She just happens to be my wife. So she had an in with the show. You know, I pulled a couple strings, talked to Joe. He's like, all right, fine. And we got her on here. So we're going to be talking about mobile homes today. I think a lot of people kind of overlook the mobile home niche. We kind of stumbled into it, and it's been a lot of fun and pretty profitable, I'd say. So we're going to dive deep into that. But first, let's get to know Lauren a little bit. Maybe introduce yourself and kind of give your bio. What were you doing before real estate? How'd you get into real estate? And touch on that.
Hello, I'm Lauren Barnett, Alex's wife. He got into real estate first, and I kind of got into it by association. We were in a band. The pandemic happened. We thought, we'll never play a live show again. We got to pivot and figure something else out. And I kind of was just in the room every time he was listening to YouTube, and he started with wanting to own rentals. And they were like, well, we don't have any cash to buy rentals. Then it went to flipping. We don't have any cash to buy a house to flip. Then it went to maybe like an Airbnb. Same problem. He got into wholesaling, sold his first wholesale deal to Joe and his partners. And we met up with Joe maybe a couple months before that at a flipping class. And yeah, just kind of set it off from there.
What was the name of your group?
The name of our group is Aloha Radio.
Nice.
If anyone wants to check it out.
Yeah, nice, nice.
Yeah, so, okay, nice. And so I would say you kind of got more involved. You watched sort of from the sidelines at first as I was building the wholesaling. I was meeting up with Joe, learning a lot from him, and I finally found this deal, the deal of the century, the one everyone's been waiting for. The only problem is it's a mobile home, and Joe doesn't flip mobile homes. So I had to go into the room and pitch that idea.
That's right.
And he actually went for it.
This was after we toured the property, though, right? Because I think we toured it, and we were talking about possibly taking it down as a rental or seller finance or something.
Oh.
And then when we toured the property and you were able to get the seller down even more, because when we walked through it, it was borderline hoarder status, you know? Then Joe said, why don't we try to flip it? And that was our very first flip. That's my baby.
Yeah.
And a little bit about the mobile home, because when he presented it to me to begin with, I said, I don't do mobile homes. But then he explained a little bit more in that you actually own the land underneath.
That's right.
Which was obviously very interesting. The HOA was like 125, which is nothing. It's got, a couple of pools, billiard table. It's got like 3 or 4 rec centers in there and it's a senior community, by the way. Mm-hmm. But then I put all that stuff together and I said, oh, you own the land underneath. That makes it interesting, because I didn't want to just flip a mobile home in a mobile home park where you ended up, you're buying basically a car at that point in time, because that's how they're registered. But this was something that you own the land. And I thought, wow. And she's correct that the price that Alex had wholesaled it or put it under contract was, I think, $80,000. And then Alex and I and Lauren went out there, and I kind of acted like the contractor person. Mm-hmm. And so I was obviously knocking everything down, but it was pretty bad shape. And I told Alex, I said, we can do this, but we have to get it down to like 60. So I think that's what we ended up getting that property for, which was a really, really good price.
Yeah. I don't think we knew it was a lot better price. and it kind of went hand in hand with what the market was doing, because I think originally the ARV was somewhere around 150, and by the time we finished, the market was still going up, and we ended up selling it for 220. So that was pretty nice.
That was a blockbuster.
Yeah, that was good market timing, is what that was.
Yeah. And the funny part of that, it was like, oh, this flipping's not that hard. Like when it was all said and done.
Yeah, we got spoiled on the first one.
I thought I was a genius. But now I'm seeing like how market timing and all that goes hand in hand with it. And you have to be able to see, like 6 months to a year out or whatever it may be. But what was really cool was Lauren kind of took the helm as far as the design. She naturally has that sort of artistic eye, and it was our first time doing it. It was kind of scary at first, but obviously we have Joe to help us out and sort of hold her hand through the whole thing. But she took the helm designing it, and it was just really cool to see her put all that together. What was sort of you had never done it before. How did you approach that?
I really just looked at previous flips of Joe's and his son-in-law Ryan's and kind of based it off of that. But we kind of worked within the mobile home. Like, we didn't tear every single thing out. We kept the bathroom vanities, the kitchen cabinets. We removed some to create a better like breakfast nook area. But we pretty much just ended up painting all those, especially the master bathroom was such a wonky layout. I don't know how we would have replaced a vanity, and it was like 2 sinks and a vanity, but almost like kitty corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just felt like when you move, if I were the person that was going to be buying this home, I would want it like clean and move-in ready. And I think too, as someone who naturally, like, I like color in my space, it was really hard to just keep everything very neutral and white pretty much. But after doing that, I think it's just like a blank canvas ready for someone to move in. If you want to paint a wall, you don't got to prime the wall. You can just throw whatever color up there you want in an afternoon. So yeah, it was a lot of fun picking stuff out. It was stressful at first because everything felt like, is this the right fixture? Is this the right doorknob? I don't know. And now I'm just like, that got the stuff I like and that I think people like. And then you just kind of see what other flips are looking like. And you don't want to copy it, but look similar, I think. That's what I'm doing, at least.
So when I first started, not when I first started flipping, when I first started teaching my son-in-law and my daughter how to flip, which is about 7 or 8 years ago now, previously I'd been flipping properties, and I'd be pretty minimalist, and I wouldn't put, like brand new kitchen cabinets, redesigned bathrooms and flooring and all that sort of stuff. I went into a place and it had shag carpet in it, and I told my daughter, I said, well, that looks good to me. And she says, you're never going to design a place for me, okay? And so when Lauren started to do the design, Alex used to call me and say, well, what do you think of this? And I'd say, ask your wife, okay? Because I don't have any design in me whatsoever. I'm good with acquiring properties and working in numbers and, doing that sort of stuff. But design is not my forte. And I know that, this was a regular mobile home and, had the paneling on the walls and stuff. And you really just, told the contractor, just paint this stuff.
Yeah, one of the contractors walking through, and I did have some background with mobile homes. My grandma on my mom's side lived in mobile homes throughout my childhood into adulthood. So she actually lived in one of the parks in Hemet, funny enough, for like 5 years. And I remember helping paint her mobile home, and it wasn't a big deal. It's just like painting a wall in your house. And one of the first contractors during the walkthrough was making a big fuss about painting the walls and saying they would have to be sanded down or re-drywalled and making a big commotion about it. I was like, we're not using him. Absolutely not. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You just use regular paint. You primer and paint. It's simple. So,
right. Primer goes a long way.
It does.
Yeah, goes a long way. And then how did you do the the resurfacing of the vanity tops and then the kitchen.
Yeah, that was an awesome recommendation by our contractor. He suggested that we could get the countertops and even the bathtubs and the shower. We were thinking we were going to have to get a whole new unit in there. He said, he's worked with a reglazing company before. We reached out to them. I saw some of their work on Instagram. They came out and those countertops and like the tub, the shower, everything looked like it was brand new and just had a beautiful sparkle to it. But yeah, that was a recommendation by Frank, and it's a popular service for the mobile homes.
Okay. And then did you stage the home after?
We did. Alex's mom is a home stager, and she's always specialized in what's called vignette staging. So you just make little vignettes to display, good qualities of the home, good attributes of the home. One of my favorite parts of the first mobile we did was that built-in hutch that we really modernized, and it just looked so nice in pictures. And we staged that with all these little plants and just minimal decor, but just to make it pop in the final walkthrough pictures. And I think that style of staging is really suited for the mobiles because they are a smaller space. But it helps people imagine their stuff in there without being cramped and having to drag all the furniture in and drag it back out when we're done. So just little pops of color and knickknacks, and especially in the bathrooms, we like to use a lot of towels and hand soaps and make it feel very luxurious in there.
And the flooring, what kind of flooring did you use?
Vinyl.
Okay.
Yeah, just vinyl all the way. I think it's
Okay.
durable.
Pretty much throughout.
Yeah, we even did the vinyl flooring in what would you call that area? The shed. It's more like a room, and especially the first one, the shed was so funky because I don't know if you remember, Joe, walking through, and the primary bathroom had a sliding glass door to a workshop that just had a car engine on like a rack being worked on.
Yeah.
It was a total like man cave, and we painted that. We ran electrical in there and put flooring in there, and people loved it. I think that was one of the big selling points of the home. Yeah.
But we ended up closing the slider in that
Yeah,
bathroom.
we drywalled that and closed the bathroom off. I don't know. I told a friend about that who's kind of a car guy, and he's like, that sounds awesome to me.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't think for the general population that would be very appealing. So,
So, anyways, if you missed the numbers, because Alex kind of went really quick through those numbers, we purchased it at 60. We put about 40 at the end of the day. It was a little bit surprising to me how much we ended up putting in. I mean, when I do a full rehab remodel of a house, I may spend 90. So 40 was a little high for me, but that's what it ended up costing us. So we were in it 100,000, and like Alex said, we sold it for 225, and paid out closing costs and commissions to everybody. So I think we ended up clearing a little bit over 100 on that deal that we ended up splitting, and I had a lot of fun. I told them from the beginning, my goal is not to go out there anymore. You're going to handle all that,
Totally fine.
and the handyman, and even you guys even showed the place a couple of times. But that was during the height of the market, and anything you put on the market was selling within days, and that's what happened here. It just sold very quickly.
I think a part of the reason I think maybe the budget got a little bit inflated was just our how long it took for us to make decisions on certain things. So I think there were times when our contractor may have been waiting on certain items. So it was just just us not knowing what we're doing.
yeah.
So I mean that's a good lesson for anybody if you're starting out and you really don't know what you're doing. Like you need to put a buffer in there don't have it to where it's okay. We only have 50,000 to spend because that's just if you get eaten up and then you're stuck, you know, and you have an extra, you need to put an extra like 10 or 20 grand into it, especially if you're doing a house. Um, just give yourself a little bit of room.
Yeah, and then as soon as you make a decision, order what you need because I think the flooring was delayed. So our guys were waiting for flooring for a week longer than they should have been. Just little things like that.
Do you think you over improved it? Because usually a first time flipper, what the mistakes they usually make are, I think like if I was going to live here, these are the type of things that I would want to put in. When you really should be flipping to the product that you're flipping and the price range. I know that you bought some really expensive doorknobs and stuff like that.
I tried not
They, I mean, and fixed light fixtures.
Yeah.
It turned out amazing. It really did. It was just amazing. But maybe a little bit overkill. You didn't feel that way.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to say that I felt that way because it was so successful.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but also I did try my best to source things like the second project we did, San Jose. I did buy cheaper light fixtures and doorknobs. I definitely I definitely started being like, okay, we can dial this back, and I knew we had a tighter margin with that one as well.
Yeah.
With the market coming back down. And so, yeah, I probably went a little too far with it. And then now it's like, okay, I see that it doesn't have to be like, for example, the light fixtures, the pendants, there were some on a cord and like the kinks in the cord were bothering me. So then I got like metal ones and
Okay.
I didn't need to do that. I could have just left the corded light fixture and it would have
see,
looked
that's
great.
you're flipping to your taste.
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
flipping to the product
Yeah.
and what the average person out there is going to end up buying
Yeah.
the property. So you're kind of putting your flair into it.
Yeah. But
And it's understandable. It
the
really
next
is.
two, I did
Yeah.
use the corded ones. That's
Yeah.
just a little bit of like OCD that I have that I was like, no, can't do that. And then I was like, the next one, I was like, yeah, those ones, they're $20. Do those. Like, I was less precious about it, I guess. Like, because it was the first one, and I also felt like the pressure. Like, I wanted it to do really well and look really nice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You didn't get any pressure from me.
I don't know.
No.
Joe's a good
not me.
backstop for
Not me.
when we
Yeah. I'm
we'll
always
say-
like, if Joe sounds worried, then I'm gonna have a full blown panic attack.
Oh yeah, which never
That's
happens.
my-
But
yeah,
I mean,
never.
No.
when we're like, hey, we want to do this to it, he's like, okay, get it cheaper, like, or you know,
Yeah.
like
No,
get it
that's
lower.
True,
Yeah,
Because you're kind
Get
of
it
the
lower.
opposite of what she is. You're very easy.
right.
And you just like the contractor says $1,000 and
Well,
you
that
say,
seems right.
can I pay you $1,200? Lauren's the opposite. Lauren says, oh no, get it for $700. I'm the same way. It's
Right,
like
right.
you have to negotiate everything,
Yep.
Yeah.
anything that you do in a flip.
Yeah,
If they ask you for this, say, hey, can you do it for $800?
I know. Gotta get
But
better.
you're the opposite. You're
yeah, I'll be like, that
Yeah.
seems
can,
about right.
can I pay you $1,200?
like it's
Yeah.
Joe's money. But yeah, I know. Yeah, especially especially with Frank after I get to know him too. He's like, now I think we have a pretty good understanding. He knows I'm gonna come in and be like, you gotta get it. You gotta get it cheaper, dude.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, and I know I'm in trouble when Alex calls me and Lauren and they go, oh, by the way, we're having lunch with Frank, the contractor. I go, oh, shoot, now you're on, friendly basis. You're buying lunch for him. It's like, oh my gosh.
This is probably worse. He actually bought us lunch one time, and I was like,
That means we're paying him too much.
okay, this is a problem.
Yeah.
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 I know. Yeah, it's a fine line with letting these guys know what's up and then keeping their morale up or something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, the last contractor in
Yeah.
Joshua Tree was a nightmare. That
Mhm.
I felt so stupid after that, like walking through the house and looking at the work. And after we brought our guys from Hemet out because he just was taking his time and not getting anything done. And they started pointing things out, and I was just like, how did I not see that? Or I was just, especially bathrooms, like we had never done tile work before, so I didn't know what I was looking for as far as like grout lines and clean work. And then as soon as it's pointed out to you, I'm just like, obviously this work is garbage, and they've just been like slapping stuff on the walls. And now, especially after that experience, those guys, I told Alex, I was like, fire them now, like today. And then you told us to wait till the end of the day. Yeah, I was really upset with those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. They weren't happy with me either. When they were leaving, they called me a few names, so that's fine.
Yeah, well,
fine.
that's on them. But bringing it back to mobile homes.
Okay.
So let's give the people maybe some design tips, maybe some do's and don'ts.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
If they're just getting started, because it can be maybe a lower barrier to entry rather than having to go out, and get an $800,000 house or a $500,000 house. Maybe they can afford the $100,000 or less mobile home.
Right.
What are your main things that you're going to go for to have the biggest impact?
Biggest impact, paint and flooring. If you don't do anything else, do that. And paint everything white. I mean, I've seen some flips with gray and stuff. I just think the white, it's like I said earlier, the blank canvas thing. And I'm not a designer, but I am absorbing a lot of design material now. I'm watching a lot of YouTubers on design and stuff. But for flips, I think you just want that clean, new feeling. Everything's fresh, move-in ready, and then whoever buys it can personalize it to their own taste.
Are you painting the outside?
I am now. The mobile homes, the ones we've bought in Hemet, are usually pretty sunbeat and look pretty. The curb appeal isn't always there.
Right.
So I think the fresh coat of paint, again, it just like can make anything look nice and shiny.
Mm-hmm. We still drive by that first one. It's like,
I know. I point it out every time.
That coat of paint is still fresh.
That was a pretty dark green color.
Yeah.
On that one.
Yeah, I did.
I know you got some negative feedback from the neighbors on that.
It was kind of hit or miss.
Just
but
one.
it was literally what was on there before.
It was. It was so painting the outside of a house, I didn't know what to do. I asked Joe, he said ask me. So it was like this circle. So then I talked to Frank, and he's like, well, you can't go lighter than the color that's already on the house if you don't want to primer it. So just get a similar color. And I did pick out a similar color when we showed up, and he did a swatch on the wall. This is actually kind of a funny story. It was like a bright turquoise. And I said, Frank, that is not the color I picked. And he has the paint chip, and he's like, this is what I told him at Home Depot. We realized there were two paint colors by Behr, both named Vine Leaf, and one had a space between the words and one didn't.
Ooh.
So they actually accepted our return of the paint, which they don't do because it was their error.
Yeah.
And we got that darker shade of green, and I thought it looked really cool, and that was kind of like I got some color in this one.
Yeah. I really liked it.
Yeah. Joe liked it, and then I was like, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
but remember, I have no design taste whatsoever, but I did like it.
Yeah.
But you did receive some negative feedback from a neighbor.
Just one lady. She also, so we did an open house so people could walk through because Joe was getting calls left and right, and everyone wanted to come see it. And one neighbor walked through. She slammed every single cabinet, like slammed the doors as she was walking through, commented on the reglazing and how bad it looked, and also said the paint color was atrocious on the outside, and that she couldn't believe that the HOA approved it, and that she couldn't believe she was going to have to walk by that house every day. And I just...
Okay, remember, this is a senior community, okay?
And I just stood there and was like, well, yeah, it's not for everybody. And I heard a quote on one of those flipping shows one time that I just keep replaying. It's like, if you please everyone, you spent too much. So,
yeah.
And you have a good one too that we always say: pick it out, put it in, move on.
Exactly.
You were like singing that like one day, like pick it up, move on.
Yeah, as quick as possible.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. That's great. So there's some mobile homes tips and tricks. If you guys have any questions, reach out to Lauren. You can find her on our shared couple Instagram account, Alex and Lauren Real Estate.
Couples real estate.
Couples Real Estate. We're being cute.
Yeah, I do. We don't have a shared like couples account. That's a little
What do you mean?
like a personal couples account.
Oh no. It's a real estate account. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, no, it's okay if you have that. I have my own account as well.
Oh, your own personal one. Okay.
Yeah, but you're not gonna find it. It's secret.
Okay. All right. Yeah, she's secret. Very secretive.
Secret.
Okay.
I don't know why I had to comment on that. It's just because you were like our couples account.
Oh, well, it's a couple's real
It's our
estate
business
It's our
account,
business
babe.
account. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
And nobody's confused, right? Nobody's confused.
So
They're married.
that's right. It's going swimmingly. So now let's back up. Just market in general. Maybe if you guys want to like and subscribe to this podcast, let's do a quick little market update. What can you tell us?
Bad.
There we go.
Bad. Market's really pretty much dead right now. And for all of you out there that are listening and are listening now, my recommendation is you put your pencils down. Okay. You wait for the Fed to finish raising interest rates. Then you can pick your pencil back up and start calculating whether the deals are good deals or not. We still look for deals every single day, but we've gone down to about 60% of the ARV. So it's getting down pretty low. And if people aren't interested in selling their house or mobile home or whatever it is, then we move on. Like I said, pretty much my pencil's down right now. We've got one more property to sell out in Joshua Tree. If you're interested in Joshua Tree, we have a property out there for sale.
It's really nice.
and that's all I have going on right now. My son-in-law, I think he still has about 20 projects that he's working on.
Wow.
And that was down from, I think he had like 40 projects at the beginning of last year. Last year was a crazy year, probably the craziest I've ever experienced in the last 42 years.
Oh my gosh.
I made the most money on a flip the beginning of the year. And then towards the end of the year, the two mobile homes we ended up selling, we ended up making about 20 on each, 2025. Yeah. But that didn't obviously compare to the 100,000 that we made on the other two.
Yeah, we got spoiled.
But they were. I mean, I had fun working with you guys on those and stuff, and you always have something come up. We had to change a water heater out on one of the projects.
I'm checking
and
for all that now.
We had plumbing issues underneath, and we had to deal with all that stuff. So it did bring our profit down more than normal. Mm-hmm. The first one we sold was like, I think 1,400 square feet. Mm-hmm. And then the other ones were like 1,000 or maybe 1,100. And then
we had one small one. Yeah, one small one. Now we know if we're going to do something under 1,100, then it has to be really cheap.
Yeah.
Because people don't, they just don't want those. They want 1,440 or bigger in that park.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
The second one sold relatively quick compared to when we listed it, I felt like.
Yeah.
And especially it was right around the holidays, I was kind of surprised.
It's because it's bigger, though. Bigger lot.
Yeah, bigger lot. It was the nicer. I mean, that was the biggest lot. And I think that was the biggest one. I think that was closer to 1,600 square feet. But it had nice landscaping and everything.
That was a corner lot one?
Yeah, the corner lot. And then I think that one being listed helped sell the smaller one because people would go look at the bigger one. Maybe it was out of their price point, and then they'd go check out the smaller one that's in the same style.
Yeah.
And that was more suited to
them. And so anyways, the other issue we had was financing.
Right.
And what are the rules when it comes to mobile homes and financing?
So I think it's a federal rule.
HUD.
Yeah, it's a HUD rule. In 1976, June 1976 and later, they started using HUD standards. So you can get regular FHA or regular conventional.
Well, you have to put the permanent foundation in.
Yeah. Once
And
you put permanent foundation in there, and then you can get traditional financing. Anything before that, you don't. Permanent foundation or not, you're gonna have to go to basically a hard money lender to
or pay cash. Yeah.
to
And the
to pay for
permanent
that.
financing was how much? I'm sorry, the
Permanent foundation.
permanent foundation.
Yeah, so that runs.
It's
I
about
think
4, right?
Yeah, about 4 or
4,000?
5.
Yeah, and so again, you find these things out as you go along. We made that mistake. We put in permanent foundation right away, thinking that we could use that to get a loan, but then at the end
Yeah.
of the day, then we find out that
Doesn't
that had
matter.
nothing to do with it.
Right.
So we still are looking for mobile homes in the Hemet area, and now we don't do any of that stuff. We don't put permanent foundation with 75 built or less.
Right.
Yeah, not at all. And then I think we decided going forward too that unless the buyer requests it, we're not going to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, because the last two we did, they pretty much were sold cash.
Yeah.
The last two.
Yeah.
The first one, I believe they did get financing.
I think we
on
did.
that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
But the last two we sold cash, and she's correct. If a buyer comes in and they want to do a loan and it's 75 or above, you can put that permanent foundation in 2 weeks or less.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because
it's
they were
pretty quick.
really quick about
Yeah.
doing that stuff, and they handle everything, and even report to the city and have them change their records that it's on permanent foundation now.
Yeah. Right on. Right on. Wow, that's great. The band's back together, y'all. Okay, so upcoming guests, we're gonna be having Joe's son-in-law, Ryan Mitchell. He's the one that's doing 40 flips, 20 flips, and we'll pick his brain about his process and everything. We have some in-house wholesalers we're going to be talking to, because it seems like, Joe, you're getting a lot of people coming around saying they want to get into wholesaling.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
What's that about?
I don't know.
It's all the
I
rage or something?
I've had like 4 or 5 real estate agents reach
Yeah.
out, and it's not unusual because during December, the end of December, all real estate agents in January have to start making payment on their MLS dues, and it averages around $1,100-$1,200 a year to do
Gotcha.
that. And some people just don't want to do that anymore, and they're
Right.
thinking, I didn't do anything last year. I didn't sell any. I didn't list it. I didn't do anything for this $1,200. So maybe I just get into wholesaling.
Gotcha.
Wholesaling, yes, you can make some money. It's not as easy as everybody thinks. And I bring a lot of them here to the office. We had like 4 or 5 of them here today.
Yeah, it was going off today.
And they sit here, they learn, because Alex comes in the morning, and he brings his other business partner Chad with him, and they start doing cold calling, and they listen, and Alex takes time to explain to them what we're doing and how we're doing it. And then at that point it's on them,
Right.
to see if they want to move forward and do what we're doing. I don't have a problem, showing people how to duplicate what we're doing. That's fine. Not a problem. So yeah, if
Nice.
you're interested in doing that, then reach out to me or reach out to Alex.
Yeah. You can find all of Joe's contact information in the show notes or on his YouTube channel. So please, if you guys would help out the podcast by sharing this with anybody, into real estate investing, or newbies, or anyone, especially on this channel or this episode, since we had Lauren talking about mobile homes. Maybe someone doesn't have a niche yet or no direction. Maybe you could point them to the mobile home direction. So
Or if you find a mobile home deal, send that. to
There we
us,
go.
Please.
There you go.
that's why she's the brains. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you joining us here on the New and Experienced Investor, and we'll see you on the next one.
If you want some more advice on real estate investing, reach out to us one-on-one.